Hi. The film I'll be talking about today is October Sky. This film was directed by Joe Johnston and was released in 1999. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Chris Cooper, Laura Dern, and Natalie Canerday. I absolutely love this film. It's one of my all time favorites. Whenever I'm down, it's that one feel good movie I can always go to. And normally, I would be described by many as the type that would hate a feel good movie, which I don't hate feel good movies. I hate bad movies, and it just so happens that a lot of films that claim to be feel good movies are not that great. This one is to me one of the underappreciated gems that people know about, but I don't think is often given the credit that it's due. We all know Jake Gyllenhaal would go on to do great things. He's a leading man. He has been for some time now. But this was really the first film in which he led and had a starring role. And it came out in a time when they were making a lot of films like Varsity Blues and American Pie. The first American Pie came out the same year in 1999. And those films really at that time lacked a certain depth. It was almost like we were reverting back into the days of Porky's, and that it was seen that anything that had to do with teenagers, it had to be kind of a shameless, raunchy sex comedy. There could be no texture, no nuance, no giving the kids any type of credit for being intelligent. And the parents in the film also had to be like cardboard cutout figures who just simply didn't get it. What this film is about chasing dreams. And it happens to be about a teenager who chases his, Homer Hickam, who wrote the book. Well, the book's actually not called October Sky, it's called The Rocket Boys. The film is October Sky. And so it's based on a true story about the main character that Jake Gyllenhaal plays, Homer Hickam, and about how when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, how it completely changed his life. It gave him something to aspire to, something to shoot for, something to reach for. And he's in this coal mining town in West Virginia where he seems doomed to live the life of those around him. And it's not just a dead end job, it's a death sentence. He sees that his dad's lungs are shot. He's got black lung. He's going to die a young man. He'll be old by the time he's 40. And it seems as though there is no path out when you're born into a community like this, unless you happen to be like his older brother in the film, very athletic and excel at sports. And it's important to know about this film that it was produced by the same people that did Field of Dreams. And I didn't realize that until recently. And the theme in Field of Dreams is the same as the theme in this film, which is when a dream gets inside of you, you're no longer ever who you were before. And this film does such a beautiful job of illustrating that. We see that when Homer first sees Sputnik in the sky, that it was the beginning of a new life. And as he said, it made him realize, he says this to somebody who works in the coal mines for his father in the machine shop, that there was a world outside of Coalwood. And that's the world he wanted to be a part of. And his friends are incredulous. They look at him like he's crazy. Like, what do we got to do? Build some rocket and enter a science fair? And, one of his friends even says, I got as good a chance of doing that as you do getting a football scholarship like your brother. And he even falls into that societal trap where he says, it's not the worst thing in the world. What's so bad about mining coal anyway? And this is one of the better scenes in the film when he lays out everything that's wrong for it, or wrong about it. And he explains to him, he says, there's nothing wrong with it. That's why your stepfather's the biggest drunk in this state. And it leads to this fight among friends in the film where, I'm not going to say it's subtle, but the fight is kind of broken up by these people beeping a horn in a nice Corvette, and they're on their way somewhere asking for directions. And the fight pauses, and Jake Gyllenhaal does a scene where he stares at the car, and then he kind of comes to and points to where they would need to go to reach their destination. And instead of saying, you see, guys, that right there, that's the kind of life I want. I want something better. I want what those people have. He just turns and looks at them and says, go be coal miners. Go do it. And he takes off on his journey to go find a spot, because his first rocket launch was disastrous, to where he can launch rockets and to take those first steps in the right direction, what he considers to be the right direction. Not even what he considers, what he knows is not just the best choice, but really the only choice. He can't accept that life, and he refuses to. And they then catch up with him, and it's this kind of unspoken agreement. We're in this together now. We're all going to reach for the stars. We're shooting for the sky, literally and figuratively. And watching teenagers, where it's usually at that age where our dreams slowly start to die. We have them as kids. We're grandiose. We're not cynical. The world hadn't beaten the ability to dream and reach for something better out of us yet at this stage in the game. And then we become teenagers, and we start to become jaded, and we start realizing we're getting ready to graduate from high school, and maybe you're going to go to college, maybe you're just going to get into the workforce. And in this time, college wasn't really even an option for most of them. So adulthood was right around the corner, and a lot of their attitudes was just enjoy these last few good years we got and go out in style, and then we'll, fall prey to the society trap, and it is what it is, and hey, could be worse. And they make the brave decision to not accept it, to reach for something bigger. And the interesting thing in this movie is the hostility that creates between the main character, Homer, and his father, played by Chris Cooper brilliantly. Because normally this could just be the typical tyrannical, judgmental, closed-minded father who doesn't get it, who never comes around. You never doubt in the film that he loves his son. You doubt that he knows what's best for his son. And he sees his son attempting this, doing these things that he just cannot wrap his mind around. And he takes it as a complete and total rejection of everything that he has to offer his son. It's as if his son is saying, that's your life, it's not what I want. And he almost seems offended by it. Like, who do you think you are to want more than this? This is not bad. Mining coal is not a hideous existence. There's something to be said. His dad's proud of what he does. And his dad is not a bad guy. And he's good at what he does. And Homer hears that from other people. And the men that even work for his father, tell him, you'll come around. It'll feel natural to you once you get down there. And Homer's determined to never go down into those mines. Eventually, circumstances beyond their control, some things go wrong. His father gets injured in a horrible accident. He has to go to the mines. And we see him go down the shaft that first night, and he looks up and sees a shooting star. And you get the feeling of him seeing that and realizing he's not ready to bury his dream quite yet. And there's a moment where it really seems as though he's on the verge of doing that. And what seems to be the turning point in the film where he snaps back out of it is he'd had a teacher played by Laura Dern, who plays the teacher, Miss Riley, who had been his biggest advocate up to this point, encouraging him to go for it. And he stops by to visit her because his mom has informed him that she's found out she's got cancer and that she's not long for this world. This isn't the kind of thing she's going to beat. And he goes to see her, and as they're talking, she said, "You're not meant to end up in those mines. And sometimes you can't listen to what anybody else says. You got to do what you know is right." And she even said, "You made other plans." And then she tells him she's proud of him regardless of how this works out. And that night, the wheels start spinning again. And he starts to allow the dream to live again. And there's a scene where they kind of are figuring out that there was this fire that was started that was attributed to them, that they didn't do it. They've proven it. He's going to get back in school to enter the science fair. Everything's paid. And his dad comes downstairs. He's unaware of all the stuff that's taken place earlier in the day. And they're excited to see him. They turn and look at him and say, we didn't start the fire. We found out. And he just kind of tells them, you guys go on home now. And it's in this scene that, and I remember seeing this. This is a film I saw in the movie theater with my father, that his dad kind of puts his cards on the table And his dad's a stoic man, a very taciturn man. And he says, look, I can't even begin to tell you how proud of you I've been these last few days. You've just been doing a great job in that mine. You keep going, you'll have my job one day. Can't even tell you how proud that would make me. And I remember watching that scene as the kid and thinking, don't ruin it. Take the compliment. He's finally being nice to you. Don't sabotage this. Don't ruin it. And he won't take it. And at that age, I failed to understand the bravery that it took for that character to look at him and say, no, that's your life. It's not mine. And how many of us, as we get older, are capable of that, of disappointing those we love to follow our own voice? That scene, the courageousness in it, the older I got, the more that scene continued to register with me each time. Instead of just saying, okay, taking the pat on the back, taking the compliment, he turns it down and he's willing to disappoint his father to remain true to what matters right here for him. And as the film progresses, he's back in school. They win the science fair. They can only send one to go represent the community. They don't have the money to send them all. He's the one that's selected. And there's a point where something at his exhibit was stolen, and he needs help from the community. And the miners are on strike, and his dad is somebody that can kind of bring it to a close. And then at this point, the mother, played by Natalie Canerday, who's one of the most underappreciated actresses, if there were justice in the world, she'd be a household name. She goes to speak to her husband, and she does such a great job in this scene where she says to him, he's gotten support from everyone in this community but you. They've come to watch him fly his rockets, they've helped him build them, they've done all of it, but not you. You never showed up. And the line that struck me, she said, I'm not asking you to believe in him, but he is your son, and I am asking you to help him. And she basically says, if you don't, I'll leave. I'll find work, I'll do whatever I have to do, I'll live in a tree to get away from you. And she turns to leave, and before she does, he kind of says, where would you go? And the film kind of gives us a little reprieve for the moment, because she kind of tearfully says Myrtle Beach and turns to walk out. And as she does, you see Chris Cooper give enough of a smile to know that what she said registered. And he comes through for his son in the end. The son wins the science fair, and he's being greeted by all these people. All the doors that he had thought were slammed shut on him are now open. He realizes the future is something that is to not be feared, to be excited about, that the possibilities are now endless. It's not what he thought it was going to be. And in the kind of melee of meeting all these people, he meets his hero, Warner von Braun, but he doesn't know it. And he goes on, and the guy says, what did he say to you? And he says, who? He said, Warner von Braun. You just shook his hand. And at that point, it's too late. He's already moved on. In the film, he comes back home. He's given a hero's welcome. Everybody's happy. And he kind of looks around, and the mother says, he's not here. And as she's taking him home, he sees his father, and he has to be dropped out. And he goes up and says, listen, I just wanted to say that I appreciate what you did for me. I know it wasn't easy. And later on today, we'll be firing off a rocket. And he said, I got a lot of work to do. And he said, well, I just thought I'd ask. And he said, heard you met your hero, didn't even, kind of flippantly. And it's in this scene that Jake Gyllenhaal made such an impression on me, and kind of showed what the actor, or the type of actor he would go on to become, and the caliber of actor he was. Where he goes to his father, and he decides that even though he's the kid, he's going to be the one to be the man. And he tells him, the things that cause us to fight are not our differences. It's because we're so much the same. I think I've got it in me to do something in this world, and it's not because I'm different than you. It's not because I'm rejecting you. It's because I'm so much like you. I can be just as hard-headed, just as tough, just as tenacious. And I have that from you. That's what's inside of me. And then he says, I only hope that I can be as good a man as you are. And Wernher von Braun, yeah, he's a great scientist, but he isn't my hero. And Chris Cooper, who's always poised for a fight, was blindsided. And you just see his face taking that in. And he's kind of doing everything he can to, keep his composure. And he kind of turns and he goes and he's getting ready to go down into the mine. We see him looking out before he's taken down. And he sees one of the miners come up to his son, and his son take the medal out and show it to him. And it's not said, but as a viewer, you feel like he's realizing what he's missed out on with his son. That coal miner gave his son the recognition that he deserved, that he himself as his father has not been able to do. And not only what his son has missed out by not getting that, how he himself has missed out for not understanding what an amazing kid he really has. And it culminates with the ending of them all gathering at the launch site to do the one last one. And the dad does show up. And in a lesser film, this would seem so cliche. So, of course, now the dad's here, everybody's going to... And remarkably, this film makes it work. It hits you. It gets me every time I see it. And I've seen it 1,000 times. And he has his dad come press the button and the rocket goes up. And I love the line from one of his friends where he says, "Look at it go, Homer. This one's going to go for miles." And it just shows the different shots in the town and the people seeing the rocket go up. And it's as if that rocket's a reminder to all of us to never let the dreams die. And for all of us out there who have a dream that we've kind of put to the side or let fade away, this is a good film to go back to every once in a while to remind you to roll your sleeves up and get back out there to it. Until next time, thanks.